Well, good morning. Are we on yet? Is this on yet? Now it is? Okay. 6 years ago, my husband, Guesly, and I and our 3 kids came to Week of Missions for the first time. I'd come to family camp some as a kid, but we kind of were in missions and we're like, why aren't we going to Week of Missions? So we came and set up a little table for our brand new organization, Project Living Hope. And I just thought, are we ever going to get to a place where they actually ask us to come up on the stage and have to talk? And that'll be very intimidating for me because this room is full of so much experience doing mission work and speaking and people who've been doing it longer than I've been alive. But here we are, and I'm doing it because God has done so much already through Project Living Hope and all the people that make it up. It's definitely not just Guesly and I, though. It was his idea. So Project Living Hope serves in the country of Haiti in the Caribbean islands. And when I was 19 years old, between years of college, I was working at a pizza restaurant in Springfield, Oregon. I'm from Eugene. And yes, was a PK there. My dad pastored Westside Christian Church in Eugene, Oregon. And so I was working in Abby's Pizza, and my grandma and grandpa came into the restaurant. I think it's the only time I've seen them in a restaurant. Don and Dorothy Kimball, and they had with them Pastor Etienne Prophet, or you might know Steve Prophet, from Haitian Christian Mission. And they'd met him at church, and they were hosting him in their home and brought him in for dinner. And then they said, after work, can you come to our house because he's trying to do some things on the computer and we need your help. So I went, and they were trying to format profiles for child sponsorship. And my grandparents had gone to Haiti the year before to see Pastor Prophet's work with Haitian Christian Mission, and they said, we're going to go back next spring, and you should come with us. And I actually was already signed up for a 3-week trip to England, France, and Italy with George Fox's Juniors Abroad program. But just in that very moment, I said, sure, yeah, I'll go to Haiti instead. So that was after my junior year of college, and we went and stayed at the home of Pastor Etienne Prophet in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And my grandma did some English teaching, and my grandpa was working on some school benches, and we did a little painting. And I always think it's a very good thing that we were not there for just 1 week, because things might have gone differently, because that first week was pretty difficult for me. Haiti is, of course, a very poor country. Port-au-Prince is an extremely densely populated city, and so you can just see the difficulty of life all around you. You can tell people aren't getting enough to eat. You see their homes. You see what they have to wear. You hear stories of what their life is like. And I just kind of thought, okay, I thought I could do this, but I can't. But we stayed for 3 weeks, and by the end of 3 weeks, I decided, okay, after my senior year, I'm going to move here. So I went back, did my senior year of college, started studying Haitian Creole on the side, and returned to Port-au-Prince. Over the next 2 years, I lived at Pastor Prophet's house, walked up and down to the child sponsorship office where I got involved with that, and then teaching English to advanced students in their translation school in the afternoons. And thought, yep, this is where I'm meant to be. I love it here. I love the people. They have really close connections with each other. They don't have a lot else to do or to distract them other than each other, and there's not a lot of electricity, so they're sitting around in the dark in the evening just connecting, and I just loved that. So I thought I'll just stay here in Haiti unless a man comes along and I'm supposed to go the way he's going instead. So HCM only hosts they were only hosting a couple visiting teams a year at that time, but they had a medical mission team coming from FAME. And so since I was training the interpreters, I went along on this trip. Plus, I would go months without seeing other Americans, so this was my chance. So I went along, and out of the airport came this team of middle-aged medical professionals, plus 2 Haitian guys that were identical. and one of them being Guesly. He was there for 1 week, and that was long enough for us to know that one day we would get married, and we did 2.5 years later, and knew that we wanted to be serving in Haiti with our life. Then, since he'd gone to medical school, we had to go earn some money. So we live in Staten, Oregon. He's been working there as a physician, and we have 3 kids. And so I thought, once they're all out of diapers and will obey me when I say, come here, I'll take them to Haiti. So we did when the youngest was 3 or 4, and I was satisfied with that. Let's take trips. Let's stay connected with Haitian Christian Mission. I've been with them for all these years, love them. Speaking of which, they have a display back there. They have 2 of their representatives here this week, Dorlis, who I've known since I was 20 years old. I'm twice that now. And they're going to be sharing tomorrow at 1:30. Haitian Christian Mission is still going, so you can get their updates tomorrow. But my husband is very ambitious, very hardworking. And so he had it in his mind that we needed to start our own organization to kind of add some more things. So that's how Project Living Hope came about. Okay, now you can flip and remind me. Yeah, so we had thought maybe it would be in Fonds Parisien, where HCM was, but things didn't work out there and with land. And so we needed to find another community where we thought our work would fit. And so Guesly and his cousin took a trip to Haiti to look at pieces of property. And one of the 2 places they went to was Camp Marie, Haiti. So this is the picture of kind of the beginning of it. It sits right on the main highway that goes up from Port-au-Prince up to the north of the country. It just straddles the road and goes off into the gardens and trees right there. So they went and, yeah, go ahead. Saw some property, and then they had this meeting with the community, because from the very beginning, we were saying this is going to be a partnership between us and what we can bring, our resources, and you and your ideas and passions and abilities. So they had a number of meetings with just the community members. And Guesly became aware of a problem that was occurring at that time, that a lot of young people were leaving Haiti. That's gone on and off and on throughout the decades, but following the earthquake, a lot did leave, and they would go to places like Chile and Brazil. And for a while, people were going and earning money and sending back good stories and cash, and so more people were going. But then, of course, that's kind of crumbled now, and they are no longer welcome, employed like they used to be, and are traveling up through Mexico to get here. So, but this community was saying, well, all our young people who we want to be growing up and farming, this is a farming community, aren't interested in farming. They just think they want to leave and don't think that farming is profitable and are just sitting around.
So after meeting with the community multiple times, and we talked about, working in partnership, and that the community have the ownership. And part of it is figuring out, how we're going to go about doing this work and the property which we would need. And so initially, they showed me some property up on top of a mountain. I thought, whoa, it's difficult to get there in the first place. And then it didn't really fit. And then on top of the mountain, we were looking down, we saw this nice property. We thought it was flat, but it was not as flat as we thought when we got there. And so we said, what about there? They said, a lot of family members own these properties. He said, how much would you need? We said, we're about 20 acres to make it work. I said, okay. And they talked about it, and they prayed about it. And within 2 weeks' time, they had 25 family members, community members that owned the property came together. 19.5, almost 20 acres of property together, so that we didn't want them to give it to the organization. We wanted to purchase it from them, because we had to have the ownership, they had to have ownership, but they would not purchase it at the price they would sell it. And so at a lesser cost, which they all agreed. So 25 family members came together to sign. And within 2 months' time, all paperwork was signed and done. And it was kind of amazing, the speed of that. which it occurred. So to start out, we're gonna actually play a video for you to kind of get a general view of the organization.
Haiti is a country plagued by frequent natural disasters, extreme poverty, insecurity, and many other challenges. These obstacles have left Haiti and its people reliant on the assistance of others. PLH seeks to break these chains of dependency and to see an increase in strong, self-sustaining Haitian families and communities who no longer look to outsiders to meet their basic needs. Most youth in Haiti are eager to learn and to build a life to support themselves and their future families. The daily challenges, however, are overwhelming and require immense commitment and perseverance to overcome. Youth have very few opportunities for safe play, quality education, or developmental programs to set them up for success. As such, many leave the country and many others turn to a life of crime. In order to build a stronger Haiti, youth must have opportunities to play, learn, and grow. Though there are many obstacles, Haiti is a country full of potential. We are already seeing change happening. Project Living Hope is located in the small town of Camp Marie, Haiti. PLH exists to empower Haitians to build a stronger Haiti. We do this through Christian discipleship in 4 key areas: athletics, job skills training, community development, and disaster preparedness. At Project Living Hope, we strive to be intentional about not only the work being accomplished, but the way it is accomplished. Every program and project is run with 4 principles in mind. The first principle is to be cooperative. PLH works alongside the Haitian leaders and community and fosters relationships where ideas, goals, and dreams can be shared. With the collaboration of Haitian nationals, PLH leadership, committed champions, and passionate and knowledgeable volunteers, PLH has been able to grow and achieve our goals. The second principle is to be sustainable. PLH is working towards self-sufficiency for the organization and the community. We're building sustainability through job creation, small businesses, training, and strengthening the family unit. Self-sufficiency, reliant only on God, gives a sense of pride and dignity that no free handout could provide. Third, PLH remains Christ-centered. Christ is the center of PLH. Programs operate on a Christian discipleship structure. Players, students, staff, and community members are shown the love of Christ, are challenged to live for Him, and are discipled, and in turn, go out and make disciples. Lastly, PLH operates with hope for the future. PLH has hope for the future of Haiti and for the generations to come. Our hope comes from Christ, from His grace, love, and promises. PLH seeks to elevate Haiti to the next level by implementing effective systems, new ideas, and modern technology. PLH is working hard to create a beautiful modern facility that hosts quality training and events. By working cooperatively, striving to be self-sustainable, keeping our focus on Christ, and remaining hopeful for the future, we will see a stronger Haiti emerge. In the fall of 2017, PLH purchased 19.5 acres of property for the construction of the Project Living Hope campus. In 2018, the road to the PLH property was constructed. In 2019, a 6-week mass grading project prepared the site for the construction of the PLH campus. In 2020, the first buildings were constructed on the PLH campus. In 2021,
a basketball court, and a bathroom and locker room facility were completed. In 2022, the kitchen and purified water station were constructed. We hope to outfit these buildings and get them operational this fall. So what's next for Project Living Hope? We plan to build the Education Center. The Education Center will hold 4 fully equipped modern classrooms, a library and study hall, computer lab, and offices. These classrooms will host training in skilled trades, business foundations and personal finance, resource management, language studies, computer applications, and possibly more. PLH students who normally rely on public transportation to get to class were left with no other option but to walk due to a several-month-long fuel shortage. Some students were walking over an hour each way to attend a 2-hour course. These students' commitment, despite the obstacles, speaks to their desire to learn and the value they place on their education. As one student put it, "We are moving heaven and earth to get here." One of our English instructors, Gerald, said, "Someone is educated not when he's able to pronounce words, but when he is able to produce valuable reflection that can help his community grow." And one of our students, Julien, wrote, "Education is a key element to help strengthen a nation. Life in a poor country might be hard for one to succeed, but being willing to learn can make the difference." Now, during our last trip to Haiti, I taught a biblical English class. I wrote the following for one of our newsletters. "In our students, I see so much potential, determination, and ambition. Unfortunately, their country does not provide them many opportunities, and on the contrary, really throws up hurdle after hurdle in front of them. It would be so easy to just give up and stop trying. Sadly, many in Haiti are doing just that. This is why it is so important that PLH be empowering people, encouraging them, and adding to their knowledge and skills."
Okay, so here's the land. This is standing up on the back side. There's this nice little knoll where you can climb up and look down on the whole thing, and way in the back is the town of Camp Marie. So this is kind of what it looked like early on. There's little farm plots, kind of, but there wasn't really a lot growing there. And yeah, there was a slight slope to it. One of the first things we ever did on the property was host a soccer coach training seminar. We brought in a couple coaches and players from Oregon and had them training about 30 guys to be soccer coaches, and then held camp for the kids in the afternoon. But difficulty was that the ball would kind of roll down the side of the field the whole time. So then this mass grading operation began. We've connected with some great guys in and around Staten that are, contractors and engineers and builders, and so they form a committee of people that actually know what they're doing to determine what needs to happen on the land, what heavy equipment we needed to rent, what supplies we needed to bring in shipping containers to get the drainage to work right. So we weren't here during this week, so we got to see it go from sloping greenery to flat dirt. And so they leveled it out so that there's 2 full-size soccer fields, and then up on the edge, place for buildings. So this is just one of the weeks. We would just bring in 3 or 4 guys at a time. Some of them would run the machinery, and then we had a couple of Haitian operators. And then our staff, who have no experience in this kind of thing, are getting to learn right alongside them how to use the survey equipment, just the different tasks that had to be done to get this land leveled out. And so it's always just neat to see the friendship form, just to have them learning from each other. Right in the middle, this lady, her name is Maylud, and she is the mayor of the whole area and is an incredible partner and blessing for us. She's passionate about her community and champions our efforts and protects us from any trouble. So you can kind of see in the back, it was dirt for a good year or two that kids were playing soccer on, and we didn't have any buildings, but from the very beginning, we want people to know that this is a Christ-centered organization and we care about the Bible and their walk with the Lord. So this was one of our staff people leading devotions, and it's great. I mean, this guy, Wilson, connection of somebody to somebody, and just what he brings. He's already passionate about the Bible and about kids and about soccer, and so it's just the right fit. So there's them doing devotions under a tent, and then we also launched English classes right from the get-go. This was inside a church building that was back in town. As you can see, it was dusty, and the sun comes right in, so it's blazing hot, and there's just a chalkboard. But that's what we did for the first couple of years. We hired a Haitian instructor to teach that. And then also early on, we sent a few guys that we saw potential in to get training at an organization called Extolo. They learned electrical work and welding and masonry. And then when it came time to start putting up our buildings, we called them in, and they got to work alongside Americans to put up these buildings and get more experience and training. Yep, so that's it, going up our steel buildings. There's one that it was supposed to be a garage for our backhoe that we own, but then we decided it would make a good classroom, so we parked the backhoe outside. And now it's a classroom and office. And then on the other side, you can see a building that's made with 3 shipping containers that brought in the irrigation pipes, all the steel buildings, and so we set them up in a U shape, and there's a roof over the top, and that's just kind of an open-air workspace for teaching trades. There it is completed. And this now is our house being built. We bought property just right across the driveway, and there it goes up. We thought it was just going to be a little 2-bedroom guest house, and later we'd build a house in the front, and this was just going to be our practice house. But then they talked us into putting a second story on it, which turned out to be a good thing, because now we have 2 extra guest rooms and a big, airy porch up on the top. So this was a dream come true for us, to have a home in Haiti. It doesn't look like my dream home, but it functions as my dream home was going to function. Okay, now you're talking.
So everything that we do is going back to the Bible. And regardless of the tool that we use, whether it's teaching a trade, working with the community, doing disaster preparedness, is still focused on discipleship and relationship to bring people back to Christ, and especially for our kids. And with the next generation in Haiti, especially Haiti have a young generation, and all the Christian organizations, whether it's HCM, whether it's Project Living Hope, we all have to work together to prepare for the next leader of Haiti, or else we're going to continue to see this systemic issue that Haiti have if we do not prepare the next Christian leaders. And we have to start them when they're young. And so soccer is a great opportunity to be able to speak truth into their life and help them to learn about the Bible. When we first started our soccer program, I often want to start things a little bit bigger than what Sara would like. And so we started our first soccer league, the first time we're starting it as an organization, and we had over 500 kids signed up. And Sara's looking at me, and she said, "You need to close it." I said, "Okay." And that first season was crazy. We had so many games all the time. We were there.
So many pairs of cleats.
Yes.
Going in and out.
And so we were there from sometimes 6 in the morning. It was 7 o'clock at night. The second year, I did it a bit better. I listened to Sara. And also to Laura. And so then we started the academy. And so the academy, again, we have some relationship with other organizations that teach how to do Christian ministry through sports. And so we partner up with them. And then we have our English classes. And so we are able to hire a second Haitian teacher, which have been nice. And it's interesting, we built the garage for the backhoe. We call it now the multipurpose building. It's not an education classroom, but we have already outgrown that. And there's so many classes and so many different opportunities to be able to teach and to bring more people into the campus. And so we'll skip this picture. One of the things that's been going on during the summer, and so we try to have summer activity for kids. And so you could see some of our staff having projects, whether it's making soap, making bracelet, and Benedict on the right-hand side making hats out of, I think, coconut branches. And so we continue to keep the youth within the community engaged. And if we could keep them engaged, we could keep them off the street. And they could have a purpose. And then we talk about our community event. And this looked like it's the mother-son date night. And so we would like to continue to do activity within the community. And it was kind of interesting the first time we did it, and we asked them, because we had like a father-daughter dance, and it was that they were kind of shy. Granted, my daughter was not shy, so we got right on the floor, so.
Then everybody got dancing.
Yeah. And so it was really fun, so we really enjoy it. And we continue to have our worship time with the community and just invite everybody. And the one thing about our organization is we work with all the churches within our community. I think we have 15 that we all know, and there's probably close to 20. And so in time of needs, and so what we like to do as an organization is empower the churches to meet the basic need of the community and those who are most at risk. And so if we have to do because we have a food shortage, which we have had before, and we need to acquire food to give to a community because we know there's a lot of problem with starvation and kids at risk. Instead of the organization do it, we go through the churches and partner with the churches, and the churches does it. And so the community never knows that it's the organization that's being involved. We want to empower the churches so that people go back to the church and to continue to develop their relationship with Christ. And so here are just some pictures of families that have going on. And this was a Christmas time, and Laura set that up.
Let me pause for a second.
Yeah.
We updated the slideshow, and then it must not have gotten saved because some of the pictures aren't quite right.
Okay.
Early on, there was supposed to be a picture of my sister. Her name is Laura, and she's 11 years younger than me, and she's been living in Haiti for full-time now for 4 years. Just the circumstances of her life lined up that she came along when we needed somebody, and she had a desire to live in Haiti. So she's here with her little 1-month-old baby. I don't think she's in the room right now. So there's been a couple pictures of her. But anyway, she's been super important to our organization. She lives there full-time, got married just over a year ago, has this little baby, plans to go back. She's technically the administrative assistant for the organization, does finances stuff. She also teaches English, but she also oversaw the construction of a road and negotiations of contractors and buildings and hosting teams, everything. So, yes.
She pretty much played me when I'm not in Haiti. Yeah, so, and then more.
And
does more.
And some things you couldn't do.
So. And then the one thing that we've been working toward as an organization is sustainability, because through sustainability, we engage the community more. And as more people in the community kind of comes in, the more we are able to have discussion. One of the things we started a while back is it doesn't matter what you do as a function within the organization. Every morning, every employee starts by diving into the Bible. So we spent almost an hour of time in the morning for them to sit together, and we usually go through a different area of the Bible for them to kind of discuss. So we'll have people now from the community that would just come. They're not even working for us, but they come. And that's important to us. And so we feel like as we start our small business aspect of it, so we planted an orchard where we planted close to 500 trees that are growing. And the water center, which we just built, we haven't finished it yet. We're planning to have a chicken coop Part of the reason is a lot of the eggs that come from Haiti comes from the Dominican Republic. Again, it's a way for us to kind of create opportunity and to help our community to become self-sustaining and be able to provide for their family. And it's also an opportunity, again, for us to minister and disciple within the community. We have the kitchen and the solar dryer, which is already built, and that will start. And so we continue to educate in multiple ways. So from resource management to skill trading, business foundation, language studies. Currently, we have 3 students that are in auto mechanics school in Port-au-Prince that the organization has sponsored with the plan of coming back to our community and, again, starting on another small business for within the community. And then the educational center. And so we leverage with our relationships and then our construction team and the amount of people that have the skills. And so we're always looking for people with skill and talent. And so the educational center will come up pretty soon. We want to kind of get to current situation in Haiti. I know a lot of you may have a question. Laura just wrote a 3-piece series. We have a little synopsis of it over there about current situation in Haiti. And so you want to start, or do you want me to start?
Go. This is the picture of it here. Gangs are taking over the capital city of Port-au-Prince and all the towns around it. There's many gangs. They're bringing in heavy guns illegally. They are overpowering the police. The government can't seem or doesn't want to seem to do anything about them. So the last few years, there's just been an increasing number of roadblocks where they block the road in order to rob or steal cars or just intimidate people or kidnap people. There's a great deal of kidnapping. And it used to be that kind of professionals and foreigners and children were kind of outside of that. But now it's really anybody and everybody, as you've seen in the news. Americans, people from different countries, school children, the ladies selling on the side of the road, up through physicians on their way to do surgeries, are all being kidnapped, held for ransom, and killed if they don't pay up. So that, and Haiti is very much centralized in Port-au-Prince. All the major stores, anything you need to purchase, all the government things, paperwork, the airport, everything is there, with just a few roads that lead out of it. And so the gangs pretty much have control of those roads. So going in and out is just difficult and dangerous.
So they strategically have place, and so what ended up happening is those suppliers cannot get to the outer part of the country area in Haiti. And so we're definitely dealing with a lot of difficulty for organizations that are in Haiti are feeling the challenges of meeting their need of their community. And so that's the reason why I'm so passionate about training the next leader, discipling the next leader, so that we could have Christian leaders take hold of Haiti, because the situation is very complicated and for all of us. And then also in moving within our organization so that our community could be self-sustaining in case situation occurs like this again in Haiti, then the community could stand, because we know food shortage and gas shortage is a real issue right now.
There's Laura.
Yep.
With some of our employees, we're up to 20 full-time employees now of security and cooks and teachers and managers. Plus we have coaches that are just contracted part-time.
And then here are more of our employees. We'll go through those fast. And so we do invest in our employees a lot, from having various education and training, and sometimes we send them away. And our goal is not to keep our employee. If we could train them up and they could lead, and if they need to lead somewhere else, we are happy, because it's more influences than we're having within the country. And here's our secretary. And so Laura worked with all of them very closely. And so we'll go through the rest of the pictures to kind of show the development of the campus. Again, thank you for your time, and thank you for learning about Project Living Hope and about Haiti. Don't forget about HCM on Thursday. They'll have more to say about the situation too in Haiti and about Haitian Christian Mission. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. What time is it?
We know we went a little long. If you have questions, we'll be around to answer some questions.